Hello there and welcome back. In the previous episode, we added dependency injection to our app. We also organized our app to follow the MVVM design pattern. And in this episode, we're finally going to deploy our app and install it on the target device. Before we start with this episode, I just want to mention that in the previous episode, I forgot to tell you that we also need to add the Hilt annotation to the location service. Okay, so we need to use the same annotation we used on our fragments and on our activity. Okay, Android entry point, and just use it over here. So if the app was not working, it's probably because of that. Now, before we deploy our app, we want our app to look like Facebook, right? Because when the user will open the app, he will see the Facebook login page and he will not know that it's actually our tracking app. But he also needs to see that it's Facebook by looking at the icon and by looking at the name of the app, right? We don't want him to see secret app. So to change that, we're going to go to the manifest, and over here we can see that the label is saying secret app. So we can go to values, strings, and over here we simply change the name to Facebook. And this will decide what is the name that is going to be displayed on the app inside the device, okay? Now, the next thing we want to do is to change the icon of our app, okay? So I'm going to provide you with an icon that looks like Facebook's icon. And all you need to do is download it, and then you will go to File, New, Image Asset. And actually before that, we can simply delete the mipmap folder, okay? Because it contains the default icon, okay? And we don't want it, we just want to create a new mipmap. So we're going to delete this, and then we go to File, New, Image Asset, and then we need to click on Image. And over here, we need to select the icon that you just downloaded, okay? I already selected it, okay? But you need to click and browse your PC and then just select this icon. Next, we also want to make sure that it's really centered inside these circles, okay? So if you're going to see something like that, you can just play with this slider and then make all this green disappear. Also notice that sometimes there's still some green on these corners, so just play with it until it's all gone. This one is not that important, okay? It's just different ways the icon can appear on different devices, on older devices, okay? So just make sure it's really focused in the middle. And then we're not going to touch anything else. We're going to click Next. And you can see that it's going to create a new mipmap folder and it's going to create new files, okay? So then we're going to click on Finish. And now it created this mipmap folder with our new icons, okay? Now, sometimes there are all kinds of problems related to this. So if the app is throwing you some kind of error, it can be because of two main reasons. The first one is because of these folders, and inside you're going to find a web type of file, okay? And all you need to do is to delete these web files. Right now, I don't see them, but sometimes we also have web files. So just delete them and everything should work. Another reason it may give us an error is because if we go to the drawable, we can see this IC Launcher background and IC Launcher foreground. So sometimes if you create a new mipmap, it will override these ones and it's going to create one that is not V24. So all you need to do is just copy this one and then go to Project, Main, Res, and paste it inside this drawable 24. So let's hope that it's not going to give us any errors. Let's run the app. And now we need to give it permission or not. Let's give it permission. And you can see that our app now says Facebook and it uses the Facebook icon. Okay, so that's good. Of course, we can also open it. Now that we made our app look like a Facebook app, we want to finally transfer it to the device that we want to install it on and then simply install it. Now, there are a few ways we can deploy our app. First of all, we need to build the APK itself. So I'm going to show you that. But after we do that, we need to decide what is the way that we're going to transfer or install the APK on the target device. So there are a few ways, and some of them are more suitable for our situation, right? The situation that we don't necessarily want the target to know that we're installing some kind of app on its device. Maybe it's friends, maybe it's some family members that you want to prank or something like that. So we need to do it fast. We need to get their device, install the app, and it should not take more than 1 minute, right? Because we don't want them to be suspicious. So some options are not really suitable for this situation. So first of all, we have the option to upload our APK to the Play Store, but it's not relevant in this situation, right? Because first of all, we're using a bunch of different permissions, and Google will not allow us to publish some kind of app with all of these permissions, especially if we don't have a good reason. And besides, our app is really not standing in all the guidelines of Google. It's just some kind of concept app, right? So there is no way we're going to get it to be published on Google Play. The next option is to simply install our app on the device the same way we test the app on our physical device, right? We simply plug it with a USB cable and then we run the app. So this option is suitable if we have enough time, but if we get the device and then plug it into our PC, we also need to make sure that the developer's options are open on that device. So it's really a lot of things to do just to install an app, right? You first need to open the developer's options on the device, then you need to bring the device to your own PC, then you need to open Android Studio and run the app, and then it will install the app. So that's also not a very good option. Now, the two other options are better options, and it's really up to you. First of all, we can physically copy the APK file into a USB stick and then maybe transfer the file physically to the device, right? We can plug the device to a computer and then transfer the APK file physically to the device. This is not a very good option because again, we still need to plug the device into a computer and transfer the file. So it's not a very good thing. Another way is by simply sending the APK file using WhatsApp or any other instant messaging program, right? So any way that you can send the APK file to the other device will work. Now, another option is to upload the APK file to some kind of hosting service, for example, Google Drive, right? All you need to do is go to the device and tell your friend that you simply want to check your mail. And then when you're inside Google, you simply need to download the APK to their device and install it. So there are a few different options and you simply need to find the option that suits you. Okay? But I think that the fastest way is simply to upload the APK to some kind of website. So it can be Google Drive. Maybe you can send it to yourself to your WhatsApp and then send it from your WhatsApp account to theirs and then just delete it afterwards. So it's really up to you. Now, after we transfer this APK file to their device, all we need to do is go to the folder that we installed this APK and we simply need to click on it and it will ask us to install the app. Sometimes it will tell us that it's not recommended to install apps that we don't know the source, so we need to just approve it. But because we have a control over their device, we can simply click on all of these permissions and then the app will be installed. Okay, so how are we actually building this APK? In order to build this project into an APK file, all we need to do is go to the build and then we're going to build an APK, okay? There's also an option to build a bundle, but that's not relevant. It's just something that we can do if we want to upload the app to Google Play, right? So Google Play can use bundles to upload our app in a more efficient way. But in our case, we want an APK because we want to be able to click on this APK and then it will install the app, okay? We also don't care about signed APKs because, again, we are not uploading it to Google Play. Now, we can also select a build variant, okay? And in our case, it's really not relevant because it doesn't matter if it's debug or release. It's not something that we're going to touch anyway. It's just going to be installed on the device and then later it will probably just get deleted, okay? So if you want to build a specific variant, you can simply select the build variant and then choose debug or release, but it really doesn't matter, okay? So we're going to stick with the debug one, so it's the default one, and then we're going to go over here, build APKs and build APK. So it's going to take a few seconds or minutes, depending on your computer, and then we can see that it generated this APK. So in order to find the APK, we click on this locate, okay? And then it will open this folder that contains our APK. And we can see app debug because we selected the debug, but it doesn't matter. The important part is that we have this APK file and all we need to do is copy it and transfer it to the target device. So again, we can send it to ourselves, we can upload it to Google Drive, we can physically transfer it, okay? But this is the file. If we're going to double click on it right now, of course it won't do anything because we're in Windows, but if we're going to double click on it when it's on a device, it's going to install the app, okay? So this is the file you're looking for. So if for some reason you close this folder and you cannot find this pop-up anymore, you can simply go to your main folder, okay? Then open an Explorer. And then you simply need to go to App, Build, Outputs, APK, and it will be over here. So the debug will be inside debug. And you can find this APK. And now it's really up to you to take this APK and deploy it to the target device. Then don't forget, when you install it on the target device, you need to grant the permissions before you leave the device, right? Because we first need to grant the permissions. So you need to open the app for the first time and grant the permissions. You also want to disable the notifications so there will never be a notification when the service is running, right? So if you forgot how it looks, let me show you. You simply need to come here and we're going to see this notification because the service is running in the background. So all you need to do is click on this gear and then turn off notifications. And then we want to turn off the notifications for this application, okay? Apply, and then it's going to close this notification, and then he will never see this notification again, but the service is actually running in the background, okay? So now the person will not know that there's an app, even if the app is closed. It will be some kind of Facebook app, and you will not even know that it's not the real Facebook app, but we're still going to get the location until, for some reason, the app will be deleted, okay? So that's pretty much all for this application. We can do other things. We can add more features. For example, we can change the UI and add different options. So it's really up to you. You can do whatever you want with this app right now, but we are done with the main functionality, okay? So that's all for this series. It was really fun to create this app, and I really hope that you learned something from it, right? We covered a lot of different topics in Android Studio and in Android development. So we learned about services, and we learned how to add the Google Maps SDK into our app and Firebase, and we learned about MVVM and Dependency Injection. So I really hope that it was useful, and that's all. So thank you for following this series. Check out my other videos. If you're still not subscribed, please subscribe. In the future, I'm going to create new series and we're going to do other things. So goodbye.